Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We're going to finish up this Gottlieb Jack-in-the-Box machine that we have been working on for a customer. We're not really doing much cosmetic to it, but we're trying to get it mechanically sound where it works great. And one of the things that we messed with on the previous video, but we haven't actually rebuilt yet. If you haven't seen the 3 videos we did on this before this, go back and check them out. This is a really fun game. It has this little match unit here in the back box. And luckily that thing can be removed. See the 2 Jones plugs down there below it? So I'm going to pull this out of the cabinet and we'll put it on the bench and take a better look at it. This helps the match, and it also is used in the alternating relay, which changes around some of the features that are lit up on the playfield. So let me remove this from the cabinet and we'll get a better look at it. Alright, so here it is out of the cabinet. It has 2 Jones plugs. We'll clean all of these connectors, just make sure that's making good contact. I need to get some Brasso and try it with Brasso. I've heard people say that you can just dip it in Brasso and it works. I want to try that one of these days. But this little thing is very clever. So it's 1 coil. And all it does is just pull in that plate on the top, if I can get to where you can see it. I mean, we can do this the hard way, where I take one side off if we have to. There it is. There it is. So it pulls in that plate. So, sends power to it. Bzzz. Now when it releases, and you can see when I let go of it, nothing happens. See how the plate is level there? When it releases, there is a little claw here on it. I'll call it that. This little claw, which has a pivot in it so that it works properly. And this little claw pushes that gear up. And each time you do it, when it releases, it pushes the gear. So the gear is attached to a little what would you even call that thing? Contact, I guess we'll call it, that spins around on this little disc. And then they're doing the same thing on the other side. And this makes the match unit work. Each company had something similar. Sometimes it was a little thing like this, other times it was something bigger. But one board is just lighting up a light. So one contact is connecting to ground, the other is connecting to one of the wires. So if you see this ground plane, this wire down here at the end, if you look, once it gets like that, it's sending this ground from here to here. That's the 2 that are connected. Right? And if it goes one more, well, now it's sending the ground, because it goes all the way around, from here to this one. And so it kind of reverses itself as it goes. So one side does the light bulb. The other side sends ground to one of these wires. And what that does is it allows the match to actually work at the end of the game. It just keeps them together. So like if you're on 8, if the last number of the score is 8, or the second number from last is 8, and the light comes up and says 8, which is using one side to do it, the other side has to actually be connecting it to make it work. So on every feature, there is a light that comes on that tells you about it. It's just an indicator light to indicate to you what the feature is. And then there's another side of it that I call the math that makes it all work, right? So one board is making it all work. The other side is making the light come on to tell you what's about to work, right? I had somebody correct me Oh, they corrected me a couple months ago that it's not actually math. No, it's just switches. Yeah, buddy, I know. Believe me, I know about it. Sit down. If I want to call it math, that's what I'm going to call it. I call it math. It works just like math. So anyway, on top of that, literally, they have used this ingenious little contraption. They have slid one switch onto the top of it there. And that switch rides on another cam. So they have wiggled a little cam in there. And so this goes down, and when it pushes it up, it turns that cam. And the cam is designed in such a way that when it's one way, the switch is closed, and when it's another way, the switch is open. And so back and forth it goes, closed and open, closed and open, closed and open, closed and open. And that's what makes that alternator relay work on the playfield that we were looking at in the previous video, where it'll say 300 points when lit. And then it goes out, and then it's now over here it says 300 points when lit. And they go back and forth. And then they put the two on the top, usually at opposite. So this one says 500 when lit. And then it goes back and forth, you know. And so that's because this thing is changing. So this is rigged up to the, we figured out in the previous video, this is rigged up to the 100 point relay. So when you score 100 points, this gets a signal, it turns on the alternating relay, which makes those lights go back and forth. So there's a similar thing going on with that. Since it's just that switch, that's just turning on the alternating relay, and the alternating relay has switches on it to either light up lights or make math work, make it do whatever it says, 50 when lit or 500 when lit or whatever. And maybe it's turning on other relays and blah, 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 blah. So it all makes a lot of sense, though. The more you mess with it, the more you go, well, of course that's how they did it. Okay, so these things get real grimy. And you can see this one, it'll pull in and get stuck. So right now it's stuck. And then it releases. So if it needs to move like 5 times, it'll go wham, 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 wham. And then it might only move 1 time. You know, so it just, you got to get it where the thing moves great. And the main problem that they have is this grease, just like always on these stepper units, this grease on the stepper unit. That crap has dried up and it's just fighting it, trying to glide over it. So the little contact on here is sloshing through the mud going around. So if you get this nice and clean, and the contact clean, it will glide through it'll ski through the mud, and that's what you want. Or it'll skate down the sidewalk. That's what you want. So if you get this side clean and you get this side clean, it'll work really well. Sometimes you run into a problem where if you've got stuff that's very rusty looking, this plate goes through right here. So there is actually a little bit of friction where the metal touches the metal. If that's got something, like sometimes people spray WD-40 on it or something, if that's got something on it or whatever, you might have a problem. So you might actually have to put a little drop of oil right there where it pivots to help it out a little bit. And then usually, since this is nylon on nylon, you don't have to do much with it. But it's just very common for these to stick like this. So it's sticking. So we want it where every time it moves that thing around. So let me clean those up a little bit, and we'll see what we can come up with. Alright, so I cleaned up all the legs with some light sandpaper, and I took this apart and cleaned up the PCB. Got it nice and shiny on both sides. I cleaned the switch contacts so they will make good contact. And I put some super lube on it. This is good stuff. You should get some. It's synthetic grease. It's better than the stuff they used to use. Dielectric. You want dielectric because if it's electric, if it conducts electricity, it will whenever you put it on here, it will short all of these together and cause a fire. So don't do that. You want dielectric. And the reason that you need that, and you just saw that it was on there originally, the reason you need that is because it helps with the friction, allowing this to slide over the board, right? You can leave it dry if you want, but you're going to have problems. So I've got it where it's doing its thing. Let's see if I can get it to do it with one hand. You kind of have to hold it. I wonder if I can do it like that. What a marvelous little contraption. Okay, so it's ready to go back in there. And I want to look at the bonus unit underneath the playfield. It looked fascinating. So on the bottom of the machine, or of the playfield, is this bonus unit. That's pretty freaking fascinating. It's different than you see them. I'm sure they used it in a bunch of games, but it's different than they did it a lot of times. So it has one big coil on it, so it can only move in one direction. Okay, so if you look on the edge, there is a switch that's in a divot in the cam, right? So if I pull this coil in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It has 10 movements between those divots, and there's 3 of them on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the way this works is, at the end of the ball, let me read the instructions here to see what it says. Bonus value of 100 points for each target hit is registered upon completion of ball in play or completion of target sequence. So we talked about this in the previous video. When you drop one of these drop targets, there's only 2 switches on it. There's one here that closes, and all it does is it turns on the light. So it turns on the light that says bonus value when lit 100. So it lights up whichever one dropped. And then you kind of just add it together. So if you've got 3 of them dropped, it will say 100, 100, 100, and you will get 300 points at the end of the ball as a bonus. But the weird thing is, there's only 2 switches on this thing. So there's one switch, so like on this one, there's one switch here that stays closed, and all it does is it turns on the light. It literally, you could just press it and it turns on the light. We did that in the previous video. There is another switch on the bottom. So see the bar down, right? So the switch on the bottom is actually open because it only hits it as the drop target is falling. Right? So see how that hits it on the way down? Well, this causes a problem because at the end of the game, at the end of the ball, how the hell does it know which ones are down? Like, how does it know that one has been dropped, 2 has been dropped, 3 has been dropped? They must have came up with something super clever to make that work. So let's turn it on and watch it in real time and see how they pulled this off. All right, so I have started a game, and I'm just going to drop one of the drop targets. Let me score some points first. I'm going to drop one of the drop targets, and we're going to watch this unit here. It hung. Okay, so that one's down. Let's drop another one. And that one's down. Okay, so it didn't do anything. So nothing moved on the bonus unit. And if you look, there are only 2 switches on it. So there's that one, which is basically going to be some kind of run thing. And then there's this one. This one, when this goes in, it's going to close this switch. So each time that pulls in, that switch is going to close. I'm trying to think how they must have this design. We can look on the schematics, but okay, so it says up here, bonus scoring control, and opens the circuit to the Q relay. All right, so let's end the ball and see what happens. Now, it doesn't work right now, or it doesn't seem to, because I haven't cleaned any of it. So let me end the ball and see if it does anything. Well, if I can get it to end the ball. Oh, I forgot, I got to do it from the top. All right, please don't bite me, Mr. Outhole Relay. So the thing turns and advances 10 positions. You'll notice that there are 10 drop targets. Well, I see what they're doing, I just don't see how they're doing it. So when the drop target drops, the da-da-da-da-da was, you know, because it hit that the switch on the back. And it has closed this one, which has turned on the light. But if you look really close, there's 3 wires. There's only 1 blade, 2 blades. So it's just 1 switch set, but there's 3 wires. So they have lit up a 6-volt bulb. And at the same time, there's a wire there in the back that connects to all of them. That's probably for the bulb. And then there is a colored wire that also connects to it. Now, how are they doing that? How are they using 3 wires to make a bulb come on and make the bonus work? If you look on the bonus unit, it turns this way, and there are wires on the edge here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there are 13 wires on the edge. And it's at the home position right now. And if you look, there are rivets on that inside board there. And so it's going to connect one of the wires, probably literally this one. This one is connected with this one right now. Oh well, but also up here, yeah, this one is connected with whatever that inside one is. So what it's doing is at the end of the ball, certain ones are down, and that extra wire somehow is connected to here. They must just be using it as some way to, I don't know how they're using, because everything's usually divided in 2. So like all the lamp stuff is 1 voltage because it runs off 6 volts, and then all of the coil stuff is 25 volt, not these, but all the coil stuff's 25 volts. So usually you can't use, oh, it's just, is it just the common? Yeah, they're just sharing the common. Would that work? It still shouldn't work though. I don't understand how they're doing it. Okay, but we'll figure it out. So what it's doing is at the end of the ball, it's telling us to move, and then these little snowshoes are going across, and if it's going And if that one is dropped, whichever one of these wires is dropped, the math is going through and you're scoring your 300 points by pulling in the 300 point relay. This thing must take forever. Oh, it's 100 points. Yeah, so it can just do a 100 point relay. Yeah, so if it moves to here and that one is dropped, somehow it's connecting power through the rivets on this and giving you your 100 point at that minute. And then moving on, and it's going doot 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 doot, and then it stopped and went doot 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 to the next one. And that's because there's 5 impulses on the bottom of the score motor from home position to home position. So it's going doot 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 doot, and it's making this do the exact same thing. So it's somehow it can tell because of the way it's wired that those switches are closed that turn on the light. So let's see if we can figure out how they're doing that. All right, so I've figured it out. So if you look, that wire on the back is actually, I hit the flipper, is actually connected in 2 different places. So one is right there that you're seeing. And it's a little charred, but that is a white and black wire. And then if you look over here, it's connected again. The wire is running down right there and connecting to the back of that switch. And it is a white and black wire. So the white and black wires are connected to all of the general illumination. And it's actually we'll call it the common or the neutral. Here's another one here. Right. And that's just how they've done it. And then if you look at the other side of each of these, they're connected with a black and white wire. Let me see if I can find that. The way they've soldered it on here, it should be here somewhere where we can see it. They usually did it at a... Let me see if I can find it. So white and black and white. Yeah, here we go. So here you see both of them. The white and the black going to there, and the black and white actually going to the socket. So that's how you get the general illumination. So this is 6 volts between here and here. Okay. Now the way they run it to all the sockets is they run what I guess we would call the hot or the positive. It's AC, so it doesn't really work like that, but the hot, right, runs through here up to each switch. I mean each light. Okay? So what they've done is very clever. On each of these switch stacks, even though there's only one switch, that wire is connecting to this top blade of the switch. So the neutral is right here, and it has to be well, I guess it doesn't really matter, but it kind of has to be the neutral. So the neutral is right here. It's present right now on this. Okay, now the bottom blade has 2 blades on it, or 2 connections on it. That one, and then this one. And so that one is connected to the lamp. So if this switch closes, the power, and it runs one way or the other, but we'll just say it runs this way. The power runs through the top blade into the bottom blade and then out that side piece to the lamp. And the lamp is connected, the other side of the lamp is connected to this metal plate, which is connected to, are you ready? The black and white wire. So that's how they're getting it to light. Now we kind of already knew that, but now that you understand how that is, that's the left side of the schematics that we always see. So from the transformer, there's a common, and then there's two voltages. There's one that does the lamps, 6 volts, and there's one that does the coils, 25 volts. And you can even see it on the top of the transformer. So see the black and white wire? That's the 6 volts. And then the red wire is the 25 or whatever. And the black wire would be the common, I guess. I think I got that right. We might have and on this particular one, they even have a couple coils that are 110 volt. But that's just confusing things. We're just talking about, I don't even know why you brought that up. We're just talking about the drop targets right now. So that's how they do the left side of it. So the way they do the right side of it is, when that same switch closes, you have now connected the common to the bottom blade to that wire. So a gray and black wire, or that may even be a blue and black wire. Which sure as you're born is going to be that one. So this wire now has the common connected to it because the drop target is dropped. Now you might say, well, that you just shorted it to the 6 volts, but you didn't because there's a bulb in the way. So it's kind of, you know, they're using the resistance of the bulb to isolate it, and that's kind of how the common or the AC or the ground or whatever you want to call it, that's kind of how it works anyways. Okay, so now this is a common, this is a neutral, this is the center tap. I guess it's not a center tap if it's not DC. But that is now neutral. So as this goes through, all it's doing is it's connecting 25 volts. On the other side of this is going to be the 100-point relay or the score control relay or something, right? Let's just say the 100-point relay. On the other side of this is going to be a coil or whatever that has voltage. And so as this turns around, when it gets to one that is a neutral, it will make the connection and pull in the 100-point relay. And it will only work on the ones that are dropped, and basically the ones that have the lamp one. So when I saw it, it was very confusing to me because it looks like all it does is light up the lamp. You can literally just turn on the lamps with it. But it's doing double duty because of the magical power of AC. So if you pull the plate off, you see, of course, why it's not scoring. So we just, determined that power has to pass through there, and I don't know that it can. I guess some of that's kind of shiny. I think it needs cleaned up. So the bonus is not working because it's filthy, is my opinion. So I'm going to clean it up, and we'll put it all back together, and then see if our bonus works. Okay, so now that you kind of know how it works, and you know that it checks each drop target as it goes along, so that little unit that's hanging right here is going to start turning, and as it gets to each place, or I guess it turns this way, as it gets to each place, it's basically, and like I said, I call it doing the math, it's waiting, it's not really waiting, but if it lands on one of those that wire is connected to the common, that's when it will give you your 100-point bonus. So because of that, it can turn 9 positions and then give you a bonus at the end, or it can give you a bonus right at the beginning and then go 9 positions without giving you a bonus. So it's just a little idiosyncrasy that once you understand what it's doing, you can kind of see it working underneath the playfield, right? So since we've shown you that, let's try it out. So we'll start a new game. Let's make sure we start where everything's fresh. I'll score some points so that it knows that the ball is on the playfield. Okay, so we're at 500 points. So let's drop like one of the last ones. So this one. So the dun 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 dun, that gave us our 50 points that we were supposed to have. And so now whenever the ball leaves the playfield, we should get a 100-point bonus. But we should hear it start moving and go, because that was a pretty big coil. So you'll hear it go, tick, 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 tick. And whenever it goes to that ninth one, you'll hear it go, boom. And then you'll hear one more tick, and it'll stop. And then it'll kick the ball out. Or it may even, yeah, it'll do it while the ball's in the out hole, I think. So you'll hear it go, tick, 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 boom, tick. Right? See if you can catch it. We're at 550 points. $650 points. So this time, we'll do it one of the ones at the beginning. So let's do the very first one. So this time, as soon as it starts, you should hear bang, tick, 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 as it checks them all, and only that one gives it a point. So we're at 750 points. So it should be right at the beginning. You'll hear it. And it gave us our 100 point. So if you do like, say, this one and that one, you should hear it go tick doong, tick 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 doong. So we're at 950 points. Oh, it didn't get the last one, but it did. It gave us the points. I don't know. I didn't hear it give us the chime though. All right, so let's see if it can find. That one's not scoring. That one's not scoring. Okay, let's see if, I wonder if I did it too fast. If you dropped them while the score motor was turning, it might not actually score because it has to start the score motor to do it. So anyway, we're at 1,550 points. Let's see if it can grab all 10 of our 1,000 points, of our 100 points that we need. So, yeah. So 1,550, we should be at 2,550. It missed one. So it's missing the last one, I think, because that's the one that didn't chime last time. Let's see. Let's see if that's the one. So we're at 2,500. Yep. It got it that time. All right, so the setup on Target Alpha is very similar to this. I've worked on a few Target Alphas, and you always end up with issues like this where it misses one of the drop targets or something, and so you have to get everything just right. So I'll go through and make sure all of my switches for the lights are nice and clean, and that those contacts on the bonus unit are nice and clean. But it should be, you should get every single one of those points. That one's stuck. Yeah, I was dropping them too quick earlier. If you drop it before it's done giving the 500 points, the score motor's still turning, so that's why it wasn't working. When you drop it, you are turning on the 50 point relay. Well, if you drop another one before the score motor has turned, the 50 point relay is still on, so you can't you can't do two things at the exact same time. Which, if you think about it, on a game like this, screws you up if you knock down more than one drop target. Like if you hit two at the same time, you're only going to get 50 points because you can only turn the 50 point relay on one time until the score motor gets back around. Yeah, so I think all those are scoring. It's also not getting us the 10 times bonus value in lit, which it's supposed to do if you drop every one of them. Which was that switch that we showed in the center. Okay, so we'll see what it ends up at. So we're at 3,300. If we go by what it says, we should end up with 4,300. But if it does the 10 times bonus value in lit, that should give us 10,000. So we should end up at 13,300. So let's see what she wants to do. So it missed two that time. So yeah, we've definitely got some stuff going on. It's probably on the bonus unit. Those contacts I probably didn't get quite right. Because these sure do light up that light pretty good. So you know the switch is making good contact because the light's actually on. Okay, so if you look at the bonus unit, there's a switch here. And it says add bonus score. That's actually what is making it score. So I'm wondering if when it gets going really fast, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if it's, maybe that's getting stuck or something. You know, you could, if this is moving, it could go right past it and not hit it like that or something, you know. So that needs to be repaired. So I'm going to look and see if I can find another long blade to put on there. It's an interesting switch, the way the blade's made. Okay, so yeah, we need a long switch blade to replace that with. And then this has cellophane tape on it. Somebody told me it's not cellophane tape, but whatever tape it is. So I'd like to get rid of that too. So maybe we might be able to shorten that wire up and just solder it right to the switch over there. There's a little bit of electrical tape on this switch setup too, but the wires, it looks like maybe it was just worn. Sometimes whenever the game lays down, it hits something, and so somebody might have put tape on those because they were wearing thin, where it's been rubbing against that or something. But I think that'll be all right. So yeah, let me see if I can find a blade to put that on there, and we'll see if that fixes our problem where it misses one every once in a while. I played around with it a little bit more, and it seems like I didn't get it to get all 10 of them. I didn't try that again, but like if I do the first 5, it gets all of them. It's just that whatever it's doing, every once in a while, one of them, it doesn't count. And all of the switches look fine, and they're all clean. So I'm thinking, though, that might be an obvious problem. Okay, I put it back together. I didn't have the little fish paper that goes on it. I don't think that'll matter. But if we end up with all kinds of problems, we'll know that matters. But it was messed up on the other one too, so I guess that would have already showed its ugly head. And I closed the gap up a little bit too. Made it where it's pretty close. Well, not real close, but, you know, 1/8 of an inch. Thought process being maybe it's just the actual, it's going so fast, maybe the physical motion, it can't keep up sometimes. So we'll see if that changes anything. There is also this Jones plug here. I need to clean the pins on it, but it's just an adjustment for how easily you can win the special. We also had the problem where the 10 times bonus didn't light up. It could just be, though, that the light's out. Did we... I can't remember. We did the previous part we did yesterday, so I can't remember if that actually gave me the 10 times bonus or not. But we haven't changed the light bulbs yet, so I need to work on that. So we'll see if that gets us any closer to it. New bulb, clean that, and the new switch that's adjusted. Okay, so I adjusted that switch in the middle, and it has brought back another feature that I didn't realize. Basically, when you drop all 10, they should reset. So at the end of the ball, you're never going to have all 10 down anyway, because as soon as you drop all 10, it's going to reset them all. It says it here on the instructions. Bonus value of 100 points for each target hit is registered upon completion of ball in play or completion of target sequence. So if you get all 10, it closes that middle switch, which should start up the bonus and give you your 1,000 points. So let's see if that's correct. So we're at 6,400. So when I drop that last one, I should get another 100 points, which should make it 6,500. Then it should start the bonus countdown, which should give us another 1,000. So we should end up at 7,500. Let's see if it skips one or not. I wonder if it doesn't, because I wonder if it robs you of one at the end. Because I'm dropping and it gives me 100, but then it immediately starts the bonus thing. So I don't know. This one sometimes doesn't score too. Yeah, so we got to mess with that switch. But it's a different switch than the bonus. So and this one I fixed that was getting stuck. Okay, so again, 11,400. When I drop it, it should give me 100 to make it 11,500. And then it should go on. We should get our 1,000, so it should go to 12,500. Yeah, I think it might not be able to do that because of the speed that it does the bonus. Let's do this. If we get to 3,000 points, it lights the 10 times bonus. So now it's going to give me 1,000 on each. That might be able to tell us. This one doesn't score. Got to work with that one. Okay, so 19,400. So I should get 19,500. I should get 100 for dropping it, and then I should get 10,000 because it's 10 times bonus value. So I should end up with 29,500. Yeah, it's not giving me that last one. I don't know if it's capable of that though. Let me think about this a little bit. All right, I figured it out. I'll show you how I figured it out. It tells you right on the playfield. It says drop target score 50 points or 500 points when lit. Last target scores the bonus and shoot again when lit or special when lit. So it's telling you right there that the last target, it doesn't say last target scores 50 points or 500 points and bonus. It just says last target scores bonus. It's because of the timing of the score motor. Since that thing just instantly starts checking all of those so that it can hit it 10 times from home position to home position on the score motor, it can't squeeze in a 100 point for the drop target. It just can't do both things at the same time. So it's kind of a limitation. They probably could have made it work somehow, but it's basically a limitation of the electromechanical design there. So once again we're trying to fix something that is not broken. Okay, folks, so we're up and running. I want to show you something interesting. If I can do this without getting electroshocked. Please don't electroshock me. I should have set this up before I started the camera, but I wanted to show you. Whoop, are we good? Now we got to keep it from shocking us. If I can get this thing where you can see it. Okay, so this is a slightly different setup than we usually see. So I just rebuilt all of these, or I'm still in it. We are on 2 right now. So the way this one rides, as strange as it seems, is the middle switch is the 9 switch on this one. It's completely different than you usually see. So the bottom switch and the top switch are the run-out switches, which will open at 0 and be closed on all other numbers. And the middle switch is the 9 switch. So is this smart? Let's see if we can be smart. So I believe N is the 10-point relay. Oh, here we go. So through the magic of me pushing the relay with my hand, you can actually see the switches do what they do. Because I wanted you to see that middle switch do its thing. We're on 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. Now here's the hard one. 9. Now look at 9. It has closed the middle switch. The top switch remains closed and the bottom switch remains closed. So when you get to 0, all 3 of them have to be open. So that's different. Usually the 9 is on the top or the bottom, but in this particular instance, it's in the middle. Okay, now I'm messing with the flippers a little bit. Remember I showed you on the previous video that the flippers were they were too high. If they were lowered better, you'd get a better shot. I'll show you whenever I'm finished. This gentleman has brought us his Royal Flush to work on. I keep showing it because this is a similar model Gottlieb. If you see how he's got his, see the end lanes? And then the flippers go down a little bit? With them like that, you can make pretty wide shots, and it gives you a little more power in some shots. Okay, well, on the one that we're working on now, they had them up too high, which in one way closes the gap between the flippers, but it makes the flippers weaker. Because to make like that shot, you've only got like a little bit of room before you have to. It's all physics and stuff. I'm not saying I'm a physics professor, but when the ball comes down, you've got to shoot it at a certain spot, and you time that. You get to where you can time that shot, right? Well, if the flippers are too high, when you time that, you're just going to be flinging it off the end of the flipper where it only moves just slightly. With it way down here like this, you would make that shot about right here, and it would, it'd have plenty of power, right? So his are just too high. So I'm lining his up where it's more of the traditional thing. Whenever I do these, we'll see how it plays, but we may move these up a little bit so that it lines up with the end lane, because that makes it shoot pretty good. But the angle of the flippers actually does affect the power of it. So I'm trying to make his flippers a little stronger. That's one. And then another thing that I noticed, and this is different on every type of flipper design. This is all pretty good. There's not much play here on the flipper link. That's fine. But one thing I see is, see how this, I don't think I have any way of showing you this, but I can just barely push on that and it moves. Well, what you're fighting is the spring here. On this one, it's much harder. This spring's stronger, and the reason is because the way they have it mounted. So the way the spring works is it grabs that little pawl there. You can see the wire coming off there, and it grabs the pawl. Well, on this one, it's the exact reverse. Okay, so one is left, one is right, because they're a reverse, right? So the coil is on the right side of this one, and the coil is on the left side of this one. And the wire is reversed. But the way they've got the spring mounted is they have it, the other end of it, they have it secured on the left on this one, and they have it secured on the left on this one. So this one seems pretty good. This one, it's fighting you the whole time. It's because that spring shouldn't be mounted there, it should be mounted there, which would weaken the spring. All that spring is for is so that whenever you flip, it's so it pulls the bat back down the playfield. Right now, we're upside down, and it's pulling it just fine upside down, right? Imagine how easily it's going to pull it whenever we're down and it's pulling it towards gravity. Yeah, I mean, you don't need all that. We could even loosen it up more, but I'm going to leave this one the way it is, and I'm going to make that one match it. And then I think they'll play pretty good like that. If they're still too weak, you could even mess with it a little more, because you don't even need this much. I mean, that could even be a little weaker. When you flip that thing, you're fighting that spring, so you don't want it too strong. It'll just rob power from you. All right, folks, you can see I lowered the flippers a little bit. Let's give it a try. It reset all of those beautiful score reels. Love it. I noticed the thing whenever I was playing around with it. Not only does it waggle the, we'll say waggle. Not only does it wig-wag the lights up at the top, 50 or 500 when lit, 3,000 or 300. Lit whole scores 3,000 and lights 10 times bonus. Not only does it go that back and forth with that, not only does the 50 points or 500 when lit go back and forth, but the last target scores bonus and shoot again or special goes back and forth. So depending on where the alternator unit that we worked on is set, when you hit that last target to get the bonus, it's going to score that one or that one, depending on which side it is. If you're playing for a free game, really helps. Let me read the instructions real quick. 1, 2, 3, or 4 players. 5 balls per player. Insert 1 coin and wait for machine to reset before inserting coins for additional players. Players take turns shooting as shown on the back glass. Points are scored as indicated. So in other words, if you read the playfield, it tells you that the last target scores. You get it. Bonus value of 100 points for each target hit is registered upon completion of ball in play or completion of target sequence. Holes score 300 points, or when lit, score 3,000 points, and lights the 10 times bonus. Maximum, 1 extra ball per ball in play. A tilt does not disqualify a player. Matching the last 2 numbers in the score to number that appears on back glass after game is over, scores 1 replay. Wrong side. Whoa. Huh. Whoa. I saw people online complaining about the pop bumpers. I like the pop bumpers where they are. It's kind of neat, and sometimes they bounce back over to this side. You can see I don't have them quite the same. I might have to loosen this one a little bit and drop it a little farther. This is a fun game. It's just got a cool flow to it. Ten times bonus when lit, but you got to get all the drops. So far, I have not been able to do that. Oh, they got me. Something stuck. All right. I'm glad I got that on camera. That pop bumper was stuck down. Can't have that. That's how you burn up fuses. So you can see the problem is the switch is stuck because the skirt is stuck. So if it hits just right, it can get stuck. Now when it does that, it's because this blade needs centered on that little rod from the skirt. So there's a rod that fits down through the playfield, and it sits on this little saucer. Well, if you're off at all, that saucer can get jammed. So you need to test that to make sure that no matter what that thing does, it won't stick. So I've got to adjust that a little bit to make sure that's centered properly so that it won't stick. And I'll try to adjust the flipper while I'm in here. Alright, so if you hear something lock on like that, try to turn your power off as quick as you can until you can figure out what it is, because if you don't, it's going to burn something up. So be careful. And it usually, on an EM, a lot of times it doesn't blow a fuse. It will just sit there and cook that coil, and you'll end up with a new coil. Since I stopped it quick enough, the coil's still fine. Or should be. We'll see. Yeah, 10 times when lit. Not that it matters. Like I'm going to get all 10 of those drop targets. Ooh, little assist there. So I was talking about the drops. I mean ooh, you get a nice bounce. I got the death save. You get a nice bounce off the back box, but the pop bumpers, it's just part of the game, people. That's how they designed it. And sometimes the ball goes under the pop bumper back to the flippers. So it's possible. Got 9,200 points that time. And I don't know that we're level. I didn't level it or nothing. There we go. All right, so the flippers can get you back to that saucer shot. Yep. When it's a slow bounce like that, you're going out the out lane. But the good news is you don't go down through the flippers too much. That bounce there's interesting too. When you go down like the right lane, a lot of times you end up bouncing over to the left saucer, and when you go down the left lane, a lot of times you bounce over to the right saucer. Like that. That's pretty wild. It's kind of like every time. Oh! All right, ball number 5. Oh, they stole it from me. All right, so there you go, folks. That is the wonderful Jack in the Box, also known as Jumping Jack if it's the 2-player version. Very cool. So I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments below. What other games are really stellar like this that Gottlieb made? I like how simple this one is. There's really not a lot to it, but it's real fun because of the drop targets. So leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next video. We've got a bunch of cool stuff we're working on pretty soon. A Royal Flush, a Matahari, and a couple other ones I won't mention yet. So we'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like these old Gottliebs, check this video out.